Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Camp Rokilio. I am Dale Upkenorth. I am the founder and chairperson of the Bay Lakes Council Scout Museum. I'm going to talk a little bit about history of Camp Rokilio back in the early days. Camp Rokilio has been here since 1924. The camp was not known as Rokilio the first year. It was actually known as Rokilai. Rokilio, for those who don't know, stands for Rotary, Kiwanis, Lions, and Optimists, named after the groups that largely donated to get this camp started. The Optimists, however, did not donate until later in 1924, thus changing from Rokilai to Rokilio. In the displays, there's a picture of from a 1925 program book that has Rokilai and the first year campers in there. So camp for the Sheboygan Council was held in 1922 and 1923 at Pigeon Lake, which is pretty close to here, which is now opposite of Camp Sinawa, which is called now Friends of Sinawa. And a lot of scouts still camp there. It was then decided that there was not enough demand and they needed to have a permanent camp. The original camp started with 40 acres, mostly towards the waterfront area. A lot smaller than campus today, it's about 240-ish acres. 8 cabins were built the first year along with the original dining hall, and each cabin housed a max of 12 scouts, bringing the capacity to 96 campers per week. The first few years, there was between 50 and 80 scouts per week that were here. This was a remote area in those early years. The first couple of years, there was no road coming to camp. The only way you could get to camp was by a boat going to the public boat landing and bringing a boat coming over to camp. So those first buildings they built, everything had to come over by boat. So daily they had to bring ice to protect the food and the daily mail. Camp Rokilio also has very great meaning to me. I worked here at summer camp on staff. More importantly, my grandfather, Elmer Barr, was here the very first year it was a Boy Scout camp in 1924. You can look in the displays over on this side. There's some pictures that have like hearts on them. That is my grandfather. Unfortunately, I never was able to meet him. He passed away when my mom was 19, but I have some pictures of him. I also have pictures of him when he was at Pigeon Lake also, and I have an old handbook that's missing the front and the back, but to me it's priceless because it was my grandfather's. Unfortunately, David Oertle and his family cannot be here today. David asked me to represent him, and I am very honored that he did ask me to do that for him. I have a statement from the Oertle family. Good morning, Camp Rokilio. We are excited to learn that the Oertle Family Foundation Welcome Center is finished and ready for campers and visitors to enjoy. We wish we could be there in person to celebrate this momentous occasion with you. Our family has a long history supporting the Boy Scouts of America, and we are proud to continue partnering with Camp Rokilio to grow future leaders. This beautiful building will welcome new and returning scouts for generations to come as they embark on their Camp Rokilio adventure. Our shared vision for this Welcome Center is a place that will encourage fellowship for all and instill in young people timeless values, leadership skills, and ethical character as expressed in the Scout Oath and Law. This landmark building would not have happened without the teamwork and dedication of so many volunteers throughout the Bay Lakes Council. We would like to especially thank Myron Construction and Dale Upkenorth for their vision and determination to complete this project during an unprecedented pandemic. On behalf of the entire Oertle family from across the United States and in Australia, our sincere thanks go to everyone who helped make this day possible. I want to read the quote that David wanted on the sign for the Welcome Center. I thank my fellow Scouters of Bay Lakes Council and its forerunners back to Kettle Moraine Council in the late 1950s for the life lessons and skills learned at Rokilio. David has a great passion for Camp Rokilio. David's memories go back to being on staff here in 1959, and he has lots of great memories here. This is a very special place to David. The scouting program has been incredible to David and his family. David has 2 Eagle Scout sons. Unfortunately, David never earned his Eagle Scout because he could not pass the swimming requirements. And for those who were here for the groundbreaking, he mentioned about 2 Packer linebackers were holding him down, so that was his reason why he didn't get his Eagle Scout. And unfortunately back then there wasn't other requirements that you could do to bypass that requirement. But it never kept him away from this place, which is remarkable. So in 1959, at age 14, David interviewed for camp staff here. He was hired as an assistant scoutmaster, yes, assistant scoutmaster at age 14 for a provisional troop during the summer. So during staff week, boys being boys, David was horsing around and tore some ligaments in his leg. His leg was put in a cast and he had limited mobility. They wanted to give him a chance, so they put a cot in the kitchen where he could sleep and help with cleaning the dishes. A couple weeks later, however, they decided he could maybe run the trading post so he could get around a little bit more. So he did that for a few weeks, and he finally got his chance to be assistant scoutmaster the last week of camp that year. David's wages in 1959 were a whopping $15 a week, or he made $105 for the summer. So I think just a little bit less than they're making now. David has said, because of scouting, it gave him the chance to both fail and have fun. The Bay Lakes Council Museum has been much of David's and my shared vision for almost 2 decades of working together. I still remember the first time I met David at my house and shared my personal collection with him. We were on our way to an Order the Arrow dinner event on a Sunday, and he stopped in for a couple hours beforehand, and I showed him my stuff, and that started our friendship. We met many times after. He's been to my house many times, having brats and just great conversation. So then we started about starting a scout museum here at Camp Rokilio. Well, it is now a council-wide museum with much success. The museum did take some time to start. In 2001, I was here at Camp Rokilio and brought a few patches and showed Ranger Steve and Cy my collection of Camp Rokilio patches I had, which at that time was probably only half that ever existed. And they encouraged me to put a little display on at an upcoming district dinner, which I did. Well, Scouters enjoyed looking at it. It was a small display, but this was the beginning of the museum. 2002 to 2003, I worked with the Sheboygan County Museum on displays on the Kettle Moraine Council. We had a 6-month temporary display there. I also continued displaying at Mom and Son events here at Rokilio and additional times at Lakeshore District dinners. So things started growing. Officially in 2004, with the permission of Michael Serba, the past council executive and past National Scout executive, he gave me the go-ahead to start this museum. Michael's idea for the first museum membership patch was to have charter member on it. We established the membership fees at $10 a year or $250 for a lifetime. And instead of giving membership cards, we're giving patches actually. I'd like to read the Bay Lakes Council Scout Museum mission statement to you. It's to preserve and share the memories of scouting in the Bay Lakes Council for those interested in the scouting program. So I brought a few things here today from the groundbreaking. I brought the shovel and the saw that people signed. So please take a look at that. I thought that would be kind of neat for this momentous day. I'd like Scott Domino to please come up and explain a little bit about the features of this building.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming. This building is a great building. It's got a lot of uses. So on your left side is our camp offices, where our program director, camp director are fulfilling the duties that they have. Behind me in the center is kind of a meeting room. Can be used for leader meetings, leader trainings. Just kind of a great spot to hang out. That's also where you'll find the displays for the museum. Over on the right side is going to be our bathrooms. Those are accessible from the outside, so as parents, leaders come in, they're able to use those before starting their adventure in camp. In the basement, there's a health lodge, as well as some bedroom space. So overall, great building. After the dedication ceremony, I encourage you to walk around, take a look, and see the beautiful building.
At this time, we would like to recognize the donors, so if Ralph could please come forward.
Well, what a glorious day to be a scout. The weather couldn't be better for us, the setting couldn't be better, and this building is a pretty amazing tribute to scouting. I have to say that I'm new to the Bay Lakes Council, and I got to live here the first week I was here in the downstairs place, and I thought to myself, what a great council that we have here that has such foresight to have something like this as a part of our culture and a part of our mission to scouting. But it was a community of donors that made this happen, because stuff like this doesn't happen by magic. And some of the donations was in time and materials. I've talked to at least 2 of you that were here clearing away trees to make it happen. So we're grateful for all the volunteers who came out and donated their time to make things happen here, to clear the area, to do all the things that happened to make it so we could afford to do the building. But we're also grateful for all the donors that gave of their time, talent, and their treasure to make this event a place that we can be proud of. And there were a lot of donations, and Dale, thank you for your efforts, because I know a lot of those donations came because you asked for them, and so we're grateful for that. But we also know that there were several others that were out there making those asks and making that happen. But there are three in particular that I want to recognize today. Unfortunately, none of them are here, but if there's some of their family members who happen to be here, please come on up and we have a small token to say thanks. David Oertle, I know he's not here, he's in Australia. I've only talked to him once on the phone. I've done email several times with him. And when we were on the phone, he sent me a picture of where he was sitting at. And he's on a cliff overlooking the ocean in Australia, so it's a nice gig to have. But it was fun to know that that's where he was taking coffee. I'm grateful for his efforts here, but all over our council. And the Family Foundation, the young people that are his children that'll continue those efforts, still care a great deal about scouting. When I asked them for a quote to go on the front of the thing, part of what I think is that when you have a building like this, you're leaving a legacy, and you need to tell people why. And that one quote is why he chose to make this building important to him. But he wasn't the only donor of significance. Alan Kiekever also made a significant contribution. These flagpoles and the flagpole area are his. For him, we have a U.S. flag that was flown over the Capitol that we're sending him as a recognition to say thank you for this gift. And then Bob Van Dyke also made a significant contribution to the museum portion of this, and so we're grateful for all those efforts. But how thankful we are that the community made a decision to bring this building to life. This camp is because the community chose to give us the donations to make it happen. And our dream is that our mission here is to grow future leaders, like David said in that quote, but our dream is not just Scouts, but the community. And so if other organizations are interested in being a part here, we're interested in hosting them and helping them grow future leaders as well. So we're grateful for all the donors, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Roy Lapine, you have a few remarks you'd like to make.
I was thinking about this building, and I echo, in my role as a council commissioner, I represent all of the leaders and all of the Scouts who are sitting here, and kind of their interests and whatnot. And so I'm trying to think from their standpoint, why are camps important? Why is a donation like this, a building like this, so important? Well, I'm an old guy, okay? And it's hard for me to remember back to when I was a Scout. And so what I did last night was I hired a consultant or two. Now, everybody knows about consultants. I live in Green Bay. And one thing about consultants is you got to get them from out of town, because the out-of-town guys know different. So my two 7-year-old grandsons who are in Kokana and have just finished a year of Cub Scouting happen to be at home. Now, I'll give you the gist of what they said. I can't replicate it exactly, because part of the conversation, one of the kids was upside down in my recliner with his feet in the air talking to me about stuff, and the other one was running around in circles in the room. And I'm not going to do either one of those. Sorry. So, but here's the gist of it. I asked them, I said, so why is going to camp? What do you like about Scouts, and what do you like about going to camp? And Ben goes, well, Grandpa, you know, it's fun. You go there and you can shoot BB guns, and you can build a fire, and you can shoot BB guns, and you can cook stuff and shoot BB guns, and then you can do archery, and you can look at trees and stuff and run around with your friends and learn how to be kind to nature, and you can shoot BB guns. And Joe, the other one, said, yep. Kind of know where that's going. And so you think about the importance of a camp from the eyes of a 7 or 8-year-old, or even a 17-year-old, because they think about things like that too. And so for us as adults, we might lose sight of it. But I happen to think, as I was driving in here today, wasn't there kind of a sense of wonder as you drove? You're coming around a corner and there's woods, and you're wondering what this is all going to look like. And then you break into the parking lot and you see this. As a Scout, you go, holy moly. As an adult, you go, that's cool. That looks like something. I should be here. I should be a part of this. And so the generosity of folks like the Oertles and the Kiefers and everyone else, everybody here has contributed in some way. That, those gifts contribute to the magic of what a scout camp is. And it's just a wonderful thing. And so it's on all of us to continue to do things like this and to do things like leading units. And so that guys like Noah here and Lily and Wesley, they get to have a program. So it's just a wonderful thing, and I guess I'm just going to end there and say thank you for everything. This is critical. We have a critical year coming up where we're going to talk to everybody about getting involved back in Scouts. What a shame it was to have COVID interrupt what we were doing. And so now we've got to go out and pull everybody back together. So that's what we want to do with Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts BSA, and on all of them, and saying, welcome back. So we're going to be looking for your help in doing that. So that's it. Thank you very much.
The most important part today is the ribbon cutting. We have 3 great volunteers that are going to help with this. Would Noah, Wesley, and Lily please come up? Okay, we got it? Oh, wait, do you have your whittling card? Yeah. Okay, oh, here we go.
Good job, Lily. We're a little tense now.
Hey! Again, I thank everybody for being here today. This is a great day. Hope you enjoyed it. Please explore the building upstairs and downstairs, and thank you.